Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Perfect Catch, a sports romance, by Alix Nichols, narrated by Alexander Cendese and Samantha Cook. 1. Noah. I miss Oscar. The realization occurs to me as I walk across the lobby to the exit of the indoor swimming pool where we train. This morning's practice was focused on sprints, weightlifting and shooting. In my case, stopping penalty shots. Our coach, Lucas, believes that if I perfect that, it could give the club an edge this season. I agree with him. This is why I spent the last hour blocking with every part of my body that happened to be closest to the ball, including my head. A broken nose is a price I'm prepared to pay if it helps my team win. I step out of the building into the sticky midsummer heat of Paris. Ugh. If only I could go back and spend the rest of the day in the pool. Or better still, I wish the pool would turn into a river flowing from here to the 19th arrondissement. Wouldn't it be great to just swim home? Letting out a resigned sigh, I head to my old Yamaha parked on the corner. While I plod there, I picture Oscar bounding up to me and wagging his tail. After a hard day that starts with practice, then 4 hours of deliveries, followed by another grueling workout, Oscar is my best sedative. It'll be hard to unwind when I get home tonight, and it won't be easier in the morning when I wake up to an eerily quiet apartment. On the other hand, no one will jump on my bed, trail a wet tongue all over my face, and bark until I take him for a walk. The past 2 mornings have been the laziest I've had in a year, ever since Oscar turned my bachelor's life upside down. I might have even enjoyed them if it weren't for that stupid plumbing issue in the kitchen. My sink drain is clogged beyond a DIY fixing. I halt in front of the cafe a few blocks down the street. 10 minutes in an air-conditioned room with a Perrier, an espresso, and a jambon beurre sandwich are just the thing before I jump on my scooter and head to the pizzeria for my shift. That a pro water polo player needs a job on the side is something both the French Swimming Federation and the European Aquatics League must be ashamed of. It's also one of the reasons our national team hasn't won any Olympic medals since 1928. 1928! Perhaps I should have gone to Italy or Montenegro when I returned to Europe, or Hungary for that matter, where water polo is the national sport. The barista hands me my coffee, sparkling water, and sandwich while I try to convince my body it doesn't need more to recover from being pushed to its limits at this morning's practice. To say I'm zonked would be an understatement. Chewing the last bite of the jambon beurre, I pull out my phone and type a brief message to my new landlord. His family name, by the way, sounds hilarious in French. Luckily for him, he's American, probably of German descent with that name, so it doesn't matter. Dear Mr. Bander, could you please send a plumber to fix the clogged drain or confirm that it's okay if I call one myself? I informed the previous owners about the problem 3 weeks ago, just before they sold the apartment. Madame Florent didn't have time to take care of it, but she promised she'd let you know. Many thanks, Noah Masson. This is my second missive to him on the subject. If he doesn't reply by Friday, I'll go ahead and call a plumber. I know tenants aren't supposed to take initiative like that without the landlord's prior approval, but how can he give it if he doesn't read his emails? Still, it would be unwise to antagonize the man. He just purchased the apartment with my lease and has the power to kick me out as soon as it expires. But I do need my kitchen faucet, damn it. The one in the bathroom is so short I can't fit the kettle under it. No faucet, no Oscar make me cranky, which might affect my performance. We can't have that. Especially not now when the team is in its best shape ever and getting ready for the French National Championship and the Len Cup. To lift my spirits, I remind myself that Oscar is having a great time now, running free in the Derzian's garden, lucky bastard. While other dogs and humans suffer the heat in Paris, Oscar can breathe. He's spending the whole months at my neighbor's summer house in Brittany with his lady friend, the Derzian's genteel poodle, Cannelle. Oscar isn't genteel, though. It's anyone's guess what canine mésalliance produced the wild combination of traits that is my dog. He doesn't know any tricks, either. In short, Oscar is a perfectly untrained, brown-spotted mongrel, or a love child if you prefer, who obeys my orders only when they align with his own desires. Boy, I miss him. When I enter my apartment, half-conscious with fatigue after the shift at the pizzeria and the second workout, my plan for the evening is simple. A cold beer, a bit of TV, and Betty by. Only there's someone in the kitchen. Seeing as my landlord is currently stateside and no one else has a key to this place, it can only be a burglar. And with all the noise he's making, a crappy one too. I rush into the kitchen. Oh, my bad burglar is a woman. She turns around to stare at me, her right arm still reaching up to open the cabinet where I keep my extra cash. I make a lunge at her, pull her away from her prize, spin her around, and press her face into the wall. She doesn't offer any resistance, clearly taken by surprise. I shackle her wrists above her head and lean into her to keep her in place. She mutters something and begins to wriggle.
"Let go of me!"
"Not a chance!" She squirms and kicks my shins. "Stand still until I figure out what to do with you," I say. She jerks her arms, trying to free her hands. "Good luck with that, Sherry. You're up against a guy who spends several hours each day training to improve his grip on a wet ball, and whose single hand is as big as both of yours." Her next move is to push back. My response is to press her harder against the wall. Her ass is out of this world. Not that one would normally notice that when restraining an intruder. It's high, round, firm, perched on top of endless slender legs that I'm sort of squeezing between mine. As she writhes and pants and I hold her down, a few unusual things occur. My lids grow heavy and my head drops closer to her ash-brown hair that springs in fluffy coils all around her head like a full, soft, warm halo. The delicious scent coming off it enthralls me. A perfume? Nah, perfumes smell different. Can it be her shampoo? Or conditioner? Or another beauty product women use to style their hair? She steps on my foot hard, breaking me from my trance. "Ouch," I say, my voice perfectly flat to show her I'm not impressed.
"Let go of me, you stupid man!"
She has a slight accent. American, maybe? "Now why would I do that?" I tighten my grip around her wrists. "So you can leg it with whatever you've already stuffed into your bag?" She twists her head to look me in the eye.
"I'm not a burglar. I'm your landlady."
"Of course." I study her lovely profile. "Pleased to meet you, madame. I'm Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs." Did I mention her eyelashes are to die for? Or that she has the lushest, most kissable lips in the universe, topped off by the most beautiful skin I've ever seen? It's smooth, luminous, and the color of coffee with a generous dash of milk. A light bulb goes off in my head. This woman isn't real. She's a fantasy come to life. And not just any fantasy. She's the fantasy I've had ever since I hit puberty come to life. My free hand twitches as I fight the urge to touch her face. What the hell? Feeling this way about this woman is wrong, not just because I don't know her, or because my mind should be free of any desires unrelated to winning gold in the upcoming season, but because Uma will be arriving in France any day now. I hope.
"Please, Monsieur Masson,"
she says.
"I can explain everything if you just stop hurting me."
I flinch. Hurting her is the last thing I want to do, regardless of who she is and what she was doing in my apartment. Gingerly, I release her delicate wrists and draw back a notch, planting my hands on the wall on either side of her. Incidentally, I have a hard-on. But then again, who wouldn't after a solid minute against a booty like that? She turns around, jostling within the small space between my arms and chest, and glares. I narrow my eyes. "So, let's hear it. Who are you and what are you doing in my kitchen?"
"My name is Sophie Bander,"
she says, her black eyes boring into mine.
"As I said, I'm your new landlady."
Bander? If she's a thief, how does she know my landlord's ridiculous name? Is it possible she's telling the truth? "The new owner of this apartment is indeed named Bander," I say. "But it's Mr. Bander." She nods.
"Mr. Ludwig Bander. I'm his daughter, and I am the official owner of this apartment."
Right. I swallow and take a step back. She jerks her chin up triumphantly. First my ears and then my whole face, flame with embarrassment. I just manhandled my new landlady. I'm very sorry about this misunderstanding," I say. "Can we start over?" Her expression softens.
"Go ahead."
I nod a thank you. "Hello? My name is Noah Masson. I live here."
"Hi," she says. "I'm Sophie Bander. I own this apartment."
Pleased to meet you, ma'am.
The pleasure is mine.
We stare at each other. I rack my brain for something to say and blurt, my passion is water polo.
You play professionally?
She asks with a polite smile. Yes, I say. Except pro water polo isn't like pro football or tennis. Most athletes need a second job.
Why's that?
The level of pay is much lower.
So what's your second job?
She twists her fingers in her hair.
I bet it's as cool as water polo.
I deliver pizzas.
Oh!
Surprise flashes in her eyes.
Well, I hope to become a professional too, one day, in real estate.
I'm sure you will. She studies her feet for a moment and then looks up.
Monsieur Masson, I think I owe you an apology too.
Please call me Noah, I say. She nods.
Letting myself in like I did wasn't very professional of me. I should have waited until you replied to Dad's email, or called me.
I frown. I don't have your number. And what email are you talking about?
My father wrote you that I'd stop by this afternoon to discuss the plumbing problem. Didn't you get his reply?
I shake my head. She lets out a sigh.
Ugh, I bet it's in your spam. Could you do me a favor and check?
I fetch my phone and open the spam folder. Smack in the middle of the first page is an unread email from Mr. Bander. So he did reply to my first email, only his letter was sorted with the request to send me $1 million from Nigeria and an offer for a penis enlargement pill with free shipping. The subject line of Mr. Bander's note is, unimaginatively, from Mr. Bander. I show her the email. Sophie points an elegant finger at it and shakes her head.
No wonder it went to spam. I have warned Dad not to put his name in the subject line when he emails people in France. Guess he forgot.
Did you tell him why? She gives me a hard stare.
No.
I nod in sympathy. In her place, I'd have a hard time breaking it to a parent that his name means to have an erection in colloquial French. How come your French is so good? I ask.
My mom is French.
Ah, that explains it. Given that Sophie is a mixed-race chick and her dad sounds Germanic, I assume her French mom is black, maybe of West African or Antilles ancestry.
I've always lived in the States,
she says, and that explains the accent. New York? I ask. For some reason, she strikes me as a New Yorker. She smiles.
Key West, Florida. Have you been there?
I shake my head. Maman and Papa often took me to the U.S. when I was a kid. We visited New York and San Francisco several times, but I have no recollection of traveling to Florida. My gaze flicks to her lips and lingers there. She clears her throat.
So, about your drain problem. I was looking for the shut-off valve so I can give the plumber its location. Do you know where it is?
You were close, I say, opening the cabinet next to the one she was about to explore when I came in.
Great, thank you. I talked to a plumber who can come by tomorrow morning at 10. Will that work for you?
That's perfect. I can stop in between my practice and work.
Is the phone number in your lease contract still good?
Yep. She gives me a business card.
And feel free to email or call if you need something else. I'm here to help.
Thank you, Miss Bander, I say. It's just the faucet. Everything else is in perfect order. She starts for the foyer, then turns around.
Please, call me Sophie.
Okay, and sorry again for the mishap, I say, opening the door.
It was nice meeting you, Noah.
Her lips turn up in a yummy smile.
Despite the mishap.
You too? As her heels clack against the stairs, I wonder how she'd have reacted if I'd answered her earlier question truthfully. I do need something else right now. Something she can definitely help me with. I need to kiss Sophie Bander.
2. Sophie. His hard ridge against my backside, imprinting my flesh with its shape. The scent of his sandalwood aftershave enveloping me. His face a few inches above mine, his heart racing and his breathing ragged. The feel of his tall, strong body pressed into mine. Broad chest, flat stomach, muscled thighs. I shake my head to drive away those images. Thoughts of that nature aren't just unusual for me. They're unheard of. They're weirding me out. Besides, they're totally inappropriate in the workplace. Grabbing the documents Veronique asked me to photocopy, I scoot down the hallway toward the pair of ever-humming machines behind the cluster of artificial fig trees. This part of my job sucks. But hey, I'm an intern, and that's what interns do, right? Except, unlike other interns at Millennium 3, the biggest real estate group in France, I have the privilege of owning an actual property in an up-and-coming arrondissement of Paris. How I convinced Dad to buy me a one-bedroom apartment here is a tumultuous saga that deserves at least 3 volumes. The first one would be called The Impossible. In this installment, Dad says things like, "It's out of the question," and "You're a total rookie with no real knowledge of what this business involves." The title of Volume 2 would be Dogged Perseverance and Relentless Nagging, and would cover the period between December and February of last year. That's when Dad resorts to more technical arguments such as, "French real estate prices have been stagnant since 2008, and I'm not convinced about investing in Paris, given the risk of another terrorist attack and how it might affect the market." I had to dig up data showing that select French cities, in particular Paris, still delivered a good return on investment. As for my knowing next to nothing about the business, I invoked my GPA as proof of how good a learner I can be. The third and final installment of the saga would be called The Impossible Comes True. In this volume, Sophie Bander finds the apartment and Ludwig Bander begrudgingly purchases it. They agree that she'll personally manage it during the 6 months of her internship in Paris from July through December. Then she'll return to Key West, asking Millennium 3 to take over. Sophie is ecstatic. Ludwig is happy that she's happy. End of saga. The photocopier begins to spit page after page into the tray. As I watch it do its thing, I tell myself I'm lucky in more than one way. My boss here is a top-performing agent who believes interns should do more than make copies or serve coffee to clients. Veronique actually involves me in her real work. Last week, she took me along to show an apartment to a prospective buyer. On Monday, I attended a negotiation. 2 days ago, she asked me to draft a lease agreement and compile an inventory. I'd applied for this internship during my final semester in Miami and received the offer the day of graduation. When I told Dad I was going to spend 6 months in Paris working for a real estate firm, his eyebrows almost crept under his hairline. "May I remind you, Princess, that I own a real estate firm right here in your hometown?" he said, vexed. "I know, Dad." "Do you?" He arched an eyebrow. "Do you also remember that I'd be thrilled to offer you a junior position in it?" I looked down at my feet. "Uh-huh." "So why on earth do you need to spend 6 months slaving for someone else in Paris?" As I searched for the right words, comprehension lit his eyes. "It's your mother, isn't it? You just want to spend more time with Catherine." His expression softened as he said Mom's name, so much so that you'd think he wouldn't mind spending more time with Catherine himself. But I know better than to nurture false hopes. It's been several years since I stopped fooling myself that my parents would ever reunite. Anyway, Dad was right. Being closer to Mom was a big part of why I was going to Paris. I don't see nearly enough of her. Summer holidays and an occasional Christmas or Easter break just don't cut it. When my parents divorced 10 years ago, I chose to stay with Dad in Key West. My friends were there. I loved my school. I loved the weather, the town, and the island. But that choice came at a price. Going through my teenage years without my mom by my side. Oh, we did talk on the phone, daily. We texted, emailed, and Skyped. All of that taken together, I've communicated with Mom a lot more than with Dad over the past 10 years. But all those disembodied conversations couldn't replace the comfort of her physical presence. I missed those magical evenings when I'd sit on the front porch to read, and she'd come out with her own book and 2 frosty glasses of virgin cranberry cooler. I'd move over, and we'd just sit quietly next to each other, sipping our drinks and reading. Her Parisian apartment doesn't have a porch or even a balcony. But no matter. I wanted as many of those quiet evenings with her as I could get before returning to Key West and putting my life plan in motion. Said plan is, by the way, the other reason I'm spending 6 months in Paris. I want to learn the ropes of Dad's business, but I want to start by learning them as a regular intern in a big agency where no one knows me, and no one will go easy on me. Dad's is the biggest agency in the Florida Keys, but most of his staff have known me since I was a toddler, and all of them treat me like a princess. It's sweet, but not very helpful. The second biggest agency belongs to our main competitor and sworn enemy, Doug Thompson. For some weird reason, Doug is extra nice to me. Every time we bump into each other on Duval Street or at Cuban Coffee Queen, and he greets me with a warm smile and a, "How are you today, Sophie?" I barely nod in response. How can I be friendly with a man who's at war with Dad? Not just a rivalry, but a real merciless, no prisoners, no ceasefires, no holds-barred war for dominion over the Keys. Needless to say, applying for an internship with Doug wasn't an option. I stick the scanned contracts into a manila folder and remove the staple from the asbestos survey report for copying. As I feed it into the machine, I recall my last words to Dad before boarding the plane to Paris. 6 months is nothing in the big scheme of things. I'll be back before you know it. His eyes drilled into mine. Will you? You bet. I gave him a bear hug. I'll become a real pro and I'll make you proud. He ran his hand over his close-cropped salt and pepper hair and wished me a good trip. My heart pinches. I love that man more than the world. What a shame his marriage fell apart. Since Mom left, I spent countless hours poring over her and Dad's Parisian Polaroids from before I was born. The pics show an ethereal northern blonde and a strapping black dandy posing on Champs-Élysées, in Tuileries, in front of the Louvre, and in other landmarks of the French capital. They hold hands. Sometimes his arm is wrapped around her shoulders and hers around his waist. In my favorite picture, they gaze into each other's eyes with such passion, you'd think nothing could kill it. I've never felt as much as a spark of passion for anyone, no matter how hard I tried. Just as well. No good comes of it anyway. I wonder why thinking of those old photos has reminded me of yesterday's encounter with Noah Masson. The man is eye candy, no doubt. But beyond his height and athletic build, my blue-eyed tenant looks nothing like Dad. Not to mention that no one in their right mind would call me a northern blonde. And yet, what is it about Noah that made me spend an hour last night looking for a mistake in his rental agreement that would warrant a revision? I ended up finding it. Qui cherche, trouve, as Mom likes to say. The previous owner had leased the apartment as unfurnished, even though she'd equipped it with everything from a bed to a vacuum cleaner. Dad bought it together with all the movable property, and Noah's new contract is for a furnished lease. But we'd neglected to change the notice period from 3 months to 1. While the copier reproduces the termite survey, I pull out my phone and tap. Hello. Can I stop by around 8 p.m. next Monday to discuss a small change in the rental contract and sign a new copy? Best, Sophie.
3. Noah. Lucas waits until the last man is in the debrief circle before he tut-tuts. 4 exclusion fouls, people, that's 4 too many. We fake remorse the best we can. But we know that, in truth, the coach is happy with the game and proud of us. No amount of tut-tutting can disguise the glee in his eyes. Jean-Michel, Denis, your sprints need work, but good effort there. He turns to Zach. Very good effort. Zach, our center forward responsible for 2 of the exclusion fouls, wipes the pretend guilt off his face and grins. If you guys can stay committed, Lucas says, you'll peak right in time for the national championship. We are totally committed, coach, Zach says. We'll do what it takes. Then he chimes in. Valentin, Jean-Michel, and the rest of the team shout things like, "Hell yeah!" and "You can count on us!" "That's the spirit!" Lucas turns to me. "Great job with the saves, Noah. Perfect. Technically, tactically, you nailed it. Give me more of the same in the championship and the Lane Cup games, and I'll be a happy camper." Lucas no longer bothers to hide how happy he is, and so he should be. The squad is in great shape. For the first time since Lucas started the club, we're truly ready to fight for gold medals, both French and European. That we just won a scrimmage game against one of the country's best clubs, annihilating them like they were a college team, is no stroke of luck. "Okay, back in the water now!" Lucas blows his whistle. "Chop chop, 30 minutes of shooting, followed by 30 minutes of strokes and lunges." Valentin shifts his weight from one foot to the other. "It's my mom's birthday today. I was hoping to leave in time for the family dinner." "Do you want that gold medal, yes or no?" Lucas gives our defender a hard stare. "Yes," he mutters. Lucas jerks his chin at the pool. Valentin nods resignedly and jumps in. When the workout is over, the team, minus Valentin, head to the nearest bar for the customary drink. Zach comes along too. He's never available in the evening, so I look forward to chatting with him. Call me a fanboy, but the guy is one of a kind. Just a few years my senior. He's so together it's unbelievable. In the field, he's efficient and generous. Even though he's our whole player, count on Zach to go for an assist over a direct shot if he believes the team would have a better chance of scoring that way. In addition to being our top scorer and team captain, he also runs a successful e-commerce business and raises a special needs kid. Alone. Maybe he's found the secret to bending space-time. "How much do you sleep at night?" I ask Zach after everyone is settled around our usual table and Lucas has ordered a round of drinks. "6 hours?" Zach says. "Why?" I shrug. "I just don't see how you can do all of the things you do and find time to sleep." "I have help." "Dobby?" He chuckles. "Nanny." "She's the one who looks after Sam from 8:30 to 6, so I can play water polo and operate my business." "I see." A crease appears between his brows. "Thing is, I know it's selfish, but I do wish she didn't have kids of her own." "Are you into her?" "No!" He laughs. "She's married and she's in my employ, so no way. It's just, if Sam had a living nanny, my mornings would be a lot less stressful. And I could go out in the evenings, maybe even date someone." "How long has it been since you—" "Long," he cuts in before I can finish. "You should contact an au pair agency," I say. Zach shakes his head. "Mathilde has been with Sam for the past 3 years. She's doing a great job, and Sam is attached to her. The only way I'm hiring an au pair is if she quits, which I hope she won't." Lucas raises his glass. "Here's to Nageurs de Paris, the best water polo club in France. Let's prove it to the rest of the country this year." Everyone cheers and chugs their drinks. Zach turns to me. "And what's up with you? Last time we talked, you were mad at your oldest brother for bugging you and hoped your childhood friend would get her French visa." "I'm still mad, and still hoping," I say with a sigh. Just as it looked like Sébastien might have given up, his wife took over. She writes letters to me. What do you make of that?" Zach grins. "Like real letters on paper?" "Yep. And she encloses photos with them." "Of what?" "Family gatherings, portraits of my brothers and their babies, that sort of stuff." Zach gives me a funny look like he wants to say something but doesn't dare. I told him about my fucked up family months ago. He knows I was born a Darcy du Grand Roi de Saint-Maurice. He knows why I prefer to go by Maman's maiden name and why I won't talk to my brothers. So why that look? "Don't you think—" he hesitates. "Don't you think your family deserves a second chance? Don't you want to meet your nephew and niece? They're cute in Diane's photos, but no thanks. I want nothing to do with the Darcys." "What about your friend's visa?" Zach asks, clearly sensing that a change of topic is in order. I roll my eyes. The French consulate in Nepal is taking its sweet time. I can't imagine she's a security threat. "Just the usual red tape," I say with a dismissive wave. "But my mother is pushing for her protégé, and my mother doesn't give up until she gets what she wants." "That explains your brother's doggedness," Zach says. "It runs in the family." As much as I hate to admit it, he does have a point. "It's kind of your mom to take an unrelated young woman under her wing," Zach says. She's covering all the expenses.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?